Welcome to White Wine. Today it's just the two of us. I'm Bianca and my co-host is Linda.
Hello.
And tonight we are going to be discussing actually something that has been taking place on social media, but it's relevant to what we call intersectionality. Now, I know intersectionality sounds like a big fancy word, but all that it actually means is looking at different aspects of a person's life, in other words, class, gender, sexual orientation, race, what else? Education. What else, Linda? It's a lot.
Basically, yeah, it's a lot. It's not just about you, as a person, like one thing against another. It's a web of things that we have to consider,
And be
in
interactive.
general.
Yeah. And how the experiences are different. And also, not only the experiences are different, but also the levels of oppression for each of those areas. For instance, I'll explain something. I'm a white middle class woman with a university education, and I am heterosexual. Okay. So, in most of those areas, who I am is the norm. Okay. Cisgender woman, heterosexual, middle class. Oh, and my faith is Christianity. So those are accepted as the norm, and there's not likely that I would be oppressed on any of those things. However, I am a woman. Okay, so there could be a level of gender discrimination that I would experience. So I have a one up, one down identity. So, in other words, I have, because I'm white, that's a one up identity. There's not likely that I will experience much discrimination based on being white. But my one down identity is that I am a woman and I can experience sexism, chauvinism from men. Okay. And every person will find that they can actually identify where they would actually experience oppression, but also what the experiences will be in all those areas of who we are that make
I
up
want
our
to
identity.
add, I want to add that white privilege is not the only privilege that exists. There
Exactly.
are different types of privileges. So you have, the two of us have white privilege.
Yeah.
The other privilege that you have is being straight.
Yes.
I am cisgendered, but I'm not straight, although I will have privileges over other queer people because of how I look or how the community I'm in. I might not be discriminated against as much as somebody else who is queer,
Yeah.
right? So I have white privilege. What other privileges do we have, Bianca? I'm also a Christian. I'm not discriminated against because of my religion.
Yeah.
Um, so the white privilege is not the only privilege that exists.
Exactly.
So it can be that there are people of color with certain privileges, but or are able-bodied, and then a person in their exact same position, being the same race, same gender, same everything, who might be disabled, will not have the same privileges as the person who's not disabled. So it's not just about, when you mention the word privilege, then people jump, but I'm poor. But there are different types of privileges, and I think people forget that.
Yeah, and I think once people understand intersectionality, then they'll also understand privilege. It won't be so difficult. But I think that it is also, this discussion is very hard to have if you're not committed to actually learning. So we're going to put up a structure for everyone so that you can understand what intersectionality means, that you can identify the different identities that you represent as an individual.
It's simply a recognition that we are all at any one time multiple things. We have a race, we have a gender, we have a class. And intersectionality attends to the things that sometimes happen to us because of who we are in institutions that have been structured in a race, gender, class, discriminatory way. So it's the multiple effects of different forms of discrimination.
Yeah, over to you. You've had a very interesting interaction over the last 2 days, and I have been watching from the sidelines. Okay. And the funny thing is, okay, so this is going to now link to this intersectionality thing. Linda was responding to a comment on TikTok, okay, and it was around a woman that was speaking to a non-binary person that indicated this woman indicated, this gender woman indicated she doesn't want to be called cisgender, and women, and she was, you know, talking on behalf of all women, don't like being called cisgender. Linda then responded to this comment saying, she is Linda and she identifies as cisgender. It's perfectly fine. You can call her cisgender. And she also indicated to the commenter, don't speak on behalf of her being Linda. Okay. Well, this kicked off a rather delightful interaction.
You call it delightful.
Well, it was fun to watch.
Why do you think I'm drinking? And then I don't drink unless I'm like in your company. And,
I know.
And now I'm technically home alone, but drinking because of all of this nonsense. It's been interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to give a little bit. So a white cisgender man came into the comment section and said he agrees with the commenter. People don't like it, and and it went on and on and on. I looked through the comments, and the one thing that was rather concerning for me was that this person refers to himself as a Lenin Marxist, okay? And when you disagree with him, he keeps on saying, "But you're a liberal," and you know, as if it's a very weird reaction. But at the same time, what he was doing was he was spouting like right-wing talking points around gender identity. I mean, I can exactly what he said. At a stage, the conversation devolved so much that he said, give the definition of a woman. And we all know who said that. I mean, that was Republicans. Okay. So he has imported that side of the politics spectrum from the USA, but he's talking about Marxism. And, you know, so it was quite a heated debate. And it went on with comments, then it moved on to videos, and it ended up with him swearing at Linda. But Linda, what do you think happened there? What did you do wrong?
Okay, but before we get to that part, when we were talking about cisgender and he was going on about you only get like a normal, the norm is man, and the not normal is trans man. Like you don't get cis man. For him, that's not, you know, he doesn't want to make it sound that there are two types of men, right? It's you're either man or woman, or you also said that if you don't identify as a biological man or woman, or if you are trans, you have gender dysphoria, and that is a mental illness. So he was all over the shop.
At a stage, it got very discriminatory, in my view. As I was reading through the comments, he was deliberately shifting it to, you don't understand, this is Western, and identity politics and stuff like that. What is really concerning is you get Marxist feminists, you get Marxist anti-racists, but he who is a Marxist doesn't seem to know that, which is concerning.
But the point I was trying to get across to everyone, and I've said this thousands of times before, I am not a member of any political party. I'm not a member of any political movement. I don't identify as a liberal or a communist or all of the things that you were shouting at me. I couldn't care less. Because to me, being a decent human being is not political. However, I understand that not wanting things to be political is a privilege in itself, because some people who are marginalized don't have that choice. You can't say, for instance, I don't like talking about politics because politics doesn't affect you. Some people don't have a choice. Politics affect them directly, right? So what I'm trying to say, being a decent human being and having empathy and humanity is not supposed to be political. Unfortunately, it is, right? So a lot of my TikTok content is described as political, when in actual fact, I've never endorsed any political party. The only thing that I have said about me and my politics is that if the earth was flat, I would move off the left side. He was trying to force a political view out of me, like a political stance and my support of a political party, when that is not what the whole conversation was supposed to be about.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, so I buy into the being the decent human being kind of thing. I do. For him, but one of the points that he was making is that he feels that it is your job as a white person who is on the left and also an anti-racist, that it is your job to educate other women, other white people. Don't pull that face. I haven't finished this question yet. Okay, and that he is busy doing it and you're not doing it. And okay, he was obviously losing the argument because he went the other way, and he has now declared war. If we, for instance, if I take away all my emotions, because as my friend, I definitely have your back, but in this case, if we take away all our emotions and we took away his emotions, and he didn't wrap that message up in like a very, the way he wrapped it up, in a way it's true, okay, is that we are there to assist other people, but he assumed that you don't do it, okay. And so I want to know, just give me a little bit of how you felt, because I saw you responded. He took a screenshot of you saying that it's not your job, and you just because you had commented, I think, someone to a Mario Maya.
I was actually going back and forth with somebody else on this, but I know this person was trolling me. But there was a point of me replying to that person. I know he was trolling me, but I wanted other people to see. I do not debate racists. I do not accommodate racism. If I see racism, I will call it out. I am not going to hold your hand and baby you and explain to you why, this is happening. I'm going to say, hey, you are being racist, and stop your nonsense, right? That's me. That's who I am as a person. Now, what that racist does with that information, I have no control over. Mm-hmm. There have been people who have said, but how am I racist? Then I will explain it. Then there will be people who will, I don't remember what that guy, there was a guy in your comments asking you certain questions, and then it became also this whole back and forth. But in the end, there was a conversation between me and him, you and him, and everyone, right? Mm. So my first point being, if I see racism, I'm going to point it out, and I'm gonna be mean. I'm not gonna be nice.
Okay.
But whatever the racist or the people who witness this incident do with that information is up to them. If you want to know what exactly is racist about, what this person did, or if you have a genuine desire to learn, then meaningful conversations can happen. And in that case, I share information and resources. But me personally, I cannot educate you. I am also learning. I will refer you to good social media accounts where people put in work, energy, and money into proper education. I can give you a book to read. I am not in the position to educate people. I know on TikTok I was very mean and I said it in a very mean way. But honestly, Bianca, am I in the position to become an educator?
Okay, so
like a real, actual educator? No. I can have these discussions
and then answer a question.
No, because you think too long. You know my situation. You know that what type of person I am mentally. But
no.
Linda
can't be an educator. No, actually, Linda, I think you underestimate yourself in your ability to actually convey a message, because you are very, maybe because of your mental situation, you are very clear in, and I would say dogged in a way, which I wouldn't be. I'll explain something to you once. If you don't get it, then I'll say, stuff you, and I'll start deleting your comments. I wouldn't have 100 and something comments from the one person. That's it. Because but so no, you're actually very good at explaining stuff. But what I wanted to say though is that I think we might be on the same page on this. Is I'm willing to educate up to a level, but I also encourage people to actually look at other resources. And for me, there are, for instance, there are Black people that can explain certain things, well, obviously, because it's their experience. However, my understanding from this particular situation, if we go back to this particular situation, is he has a different view. And I wanted to ask you, so this gentleness around, because the exact words were that you need to baby people, okay, and gently move them. How did that make you feel? Because I've never actually seen you baby people.
Are we not all grown up?
We are.
Because I hear you. I hear what you are saying about the education, but in my, I'm doing this again where I do this, in my opinion. I don't want to fight, but I'm saying that when I think about an educator, it is someone who has written articles, someone that I can quote, someone who stands in front of their whiteboard and draws the pictures and has some sort of qualification in, I want to say, preschool learning. But anyway, the thing is, someone who is qualified to teach people. That, in my opinion, is an educator. I can have a conversation around this. I learn from you. I don't know if you ever learn from me.
I do.
But I mean,
I do. That's why I say you underestimate yourself.
But when we have these types of conversations, because I am on my journey, you are on your journey, we will never get to a day where we can say we know everything.
Yeah.
We will never get to that day. So when we have these conversations, we learn from each other.
Mhm.
But I still don't see myself as an educator. I can share resources with people if they want, but that is only if they want, if they are willing to learn. If they are going to be straight up racist or ableist or sexist or whatever, I am going to swear at them. I'm going to be Linda. I'm going to be me.
Okay, so what I wanted to say is on my journey, like you said, we are on this journey and we're all at different places and in different paces. And sometimes you take steps forward and then you have to take steps back because you realize, oops, I'm busy white womaning about something. But, but wait, so what I wanted to say is on how I got there is my reasoning of not educating someone on a timeline is simply because I know the harm it does to others. So I'm very fortunate to have certain mentors I've had for a while. I used to be very patient. So when I started my social media in 2019, I was like patient. I could see Mother Teresa. Yeah, I could see it although Mother Teresa was a bad person, by the way, but we won't get into it now. Anyway, so
yeah, never mind.
So what I wanted to say was, I could see it, the best in people, and I always thought, no, these people just don't know, and it's an education thing. But there are certain people that are simply harmful, bigoted, racist idiots, and they want to cause as much harm, and it's violence. And while you are entertaining them, that violence is in front of the actual victims the entire time. And so as I say, my mentor said, we understand that you don't understand this, but what you are doing is exposing people that are victims of that behavior to that behavior continuously because you try to accommodate it and trying to educate. If you want to educate, they said no, there's no problem about that because that kind of person will never listen to a black person anyway, or a colored person or an Indian person. You can do it privately, but understand while you are trying to get them to do the right thing and you're saying, oh, sis Yanni, that's not nice. You don't refer to people like that. We are exposed.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree.
So I've also got this very straightforward. Yeah, I've got this very straightforward. Okay, not the tack straightforward that you use. I am, or that Dean uses. Dean has got like a very interesting approach to. I've got a very, go and apply your mind. Okay, so that kind of thing. So I try and
you say go, you say go and apply your mind. I say go and apply your.
I know. I know. But I always, in my defense, I also, in those videos, you'll never find a video that I've made where I'm giving someone a tell off that I don't leave a little nugget of wisdom and hope it will plant something. But it's never for the racist troll. It's never for those people. It's for the people that don't know, that look at it and they think, hi. Because I have so many times had DMs from people that don't speak out about racism, white people, because they're afraid. They're afraid of, and I think because of, what happened to you over the last few days was, I was actually just at a stage, I was thinking, you know what, if I've ever seen such anger in a little bundle, and I was like, what did you do? And that's why I went and looked at all those comments. And let's get to the white manning thing.
Yeah, I want to go there quickly because we are having such a lack of conversation. I feel like we're all over the place. But what happened in actual fact, we were discussing cisgender and transgender, right? And then I said that he's acting like a white man. And I still think, I actually think I'm funny sometimes. Like, I thought that was funny. But he was acting like, and then he got extremely angry.
Okay, but
And
I'm
we
going to stop
have
you there.
spoken about this.
I need to stop you there. I want to ask you, I want you to expand on what you meant. So when you said, I think you're acting like a white man, what did you mean? Because that is, because white men are going to be listening and then they're going to say, okay, so what did you mean when you said that?
Okay, so to those that okay, let me explain it.
Okay.
So so how people say other people are acting like a Karen.
Yes.
So we get this thing where we say, oh, this person is acting like a Karen. Now, what does a Karen look like?
Okay.
It's normally a white woman in a type of blonde, a specific blonde hairstyle with highlights probably, and a certain cut, and walking a certain way, asking to speak to the manager.
Yes.
It's entitled behavior, right?
Yes.
But it's become this
with racism.
Yeah, it's not always, racism is not always one thing. So when you say racism, it is this feeling of I am better than the employee trying to help me at the moment, who is most of the time a person of color. Yeah. So that's the racism we are talking about right now. And I think people forget that racism comes in different shapes and forms, right?
But anyway, white man.
The point. So that is a Karen.
Yeah.
And I said he is acting like a white man because he was acting ignorant and entitled. And he saw it as an insult. But my thinking is, because we deal with white men all the time, is that he was acting pretty much like them, the racists in my comments. One of the things that he replied to me with is, how would you feel if I say you white woman? So
we do white women.
So I said, the next time I have a white woman moment, I'll let you know. The point I was having with the white woman thing, when I said the next time I have a white woman moment, I'll let you know, is because it is bound to happen. We are white. And we have this internal bias and indoctrination that we were brought up with. That if we don't actively unlearn these things, we are going to have white women or white men moments.
Okay, but do you see how he possibly saw that as an insult? That because I saw then, so what I did is I've been investigating. Okay, so I looked at all his videos, all your videos, all the comments, and I just wanted to say is, if you had to, like you said, we all on different paths when it comes to our journey. He's on a very different path. But we are all on different paths. If someone didn't know what you meant, okay, do you think it would have caused harm? So they see this man behaving badly, and then you in your comment section say you're acting like a white man. Just you look like a
harm to white people. Yeah. Are you talking about
harm to someone that is on a journey and didn't know, for instance, is not, for instance, where you are now. So
okay, but part of being on a journey is asking questions, though.
Did anyone ask you what you meant beside him?
No, only him.
Only him. Okay, so our expectation is that if someone watches our content, they'll know where we are. Is that what we're saying?
No, I don't expect people to know exactly everything.
Yeah.
Like I said, I still learn every day. But so what I do.
Okay.
When someone calls me a racist, right? I don't know. We have this type of instinct to defend ourselves. That is not helpful to anyone. No. If someone calls me a racist, especially a person of color, calls me a racist, then I would first of all, I want to know what I did to be perceived as a racist, right? So I'm going to take a step back and look at what did my actions reflect. Was I acting like a racist? You know, sometimes very few times, there are people who might call you a racist for no reason. Like there's might be many different reasons, but it might not be something that you specifically did, right? And to that, my answer is always, I do not know the lived experience of somebody else. Every person that looks like me might have given that person a certain idea. I don't know what that person went through at the hands of people who look like me. So I'm not going to get upset with a person thinking I'm racist just because I'm white. I am going to address the people who give us this bad name or who has created this stereotype. The Karens. I'm going to say, don't be a Karen.
Okay.
You know?
Can we find another name for you acting like a white man?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. But I'm saying, if your first reaction is to react or to defend yourself, stop it. If you are on an anti-racism journey, stop defending yourself. And because I don't know how you might see it. This anti-racism journey for me is a self-awareness journey.
Yes.
It's how to better myself. You know, and in the process, apparently people learn from me.
They do. They do. I've learned from you.
No, but I'm saying you are not supposed to react with that immediate hatred or frustration or trying to defend yourself. I'm a good white. No. Sit back and listen and try and understand. But anyway, not everyone will do that. Not everyone is in the same place or space on their journey. I get that. But I kind of expect the normal thinking person to be like, Linda, why are you insulting your own race? Not go off on a tangent and call me all types of names and start swearing at me. But although that's also fine if you want to do that, fine. But that's what happened. I called him. I didn't call him a white man. I said, you are a white man acting like a white man.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is my understanding of it. Yeah. Like the ignorance and the entitlement that has kind of become a stereotype, like the Karen meme, for example.
Okay, so can we agree that we need to find another name?
What's wrong with Karen?
For the man version of the Karen.
For the man.
So let's move on.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so the one thing that he kept on saying after this, and that's what I think is a good thing that we need to discuss and learn about, is the moment Linda said, you're acting like a white man, he went into this, but you called me a racist, you called me a bigot. Linda did make video responses to him in which you said he should educate himself on anti-racism and gender identity and intersectionality. And he took that viscerally. It was just like, he was so insulted, and he kept on saying that Linda called him a racist. The strange thing is, though, when I went through those comments, 2 people called him a racist. A black person and a colored person called him racist. And the way he responded... I want to talk about that. Sorry?
I want to say something about that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I do think he is, but and again, there are different types, shapes, and all sorts of racism. It's all under the same umbrella. Obviously, if you're racist, you're racist. But people seem to think you have to be shouting the K word, or you have to be this to be racist, or you have to be openly hateful. But what I was trying to say to him is he was using microaggressions. And if you do not know how harmful that is, if you don't know anything about racism, anti-racism, microaggressions, that's why I said he must educate himself. If you don't know anything about this and you keep on using them, it's harmful.
Yes.
And what was really bad is when a person of color told him that he is racist, he basically, not in so many words, but it came down to it, said that that person didn't know what racism was.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, you can't tell a person of color they don't know what racism is if that is their lived experience. My point was that if you are not educated on these things, be quiet. Because in previous anti-racism videos I've made, is if you take on this anti-racism thing, or you call yourself an ally, but you don't do the learning part, the reading and knowing exactly what things not to do and what to do and what not to do, you become a performative ally, which is dangerous to people of color.
But he kept on calling you that, saying that you performative and you just doing it, you want to align with Black people, but you don't want to actually educate your people. And I also found there's a little bit of my concern around this is he seems to have a very hyper focus on white Afrikaans people. Okay. And it's giving me ethnic exceptionalism, so it's ons volk kind of thing. It gave me a bit of a bad taste. What are we talking about? Yeah, volk and vaderland. But yeah, he seems to say that, but it is something that I did pick up, is that he keeps on saying, what is it? Marxist Leninist? And do you know what that is? Do you know what it is? And I was like, I was like, yes, I actually know what it is. And I can tell you that his behavior is not going to encourage people to look into what it is, because he's behaving like a spoiled brat.
That's the irony for me. Because he was telling me that I must baby racists, right?
But he was so mean to you.
Why aren't you being polite to me to join your movement? Boervolk, communist boere. Why? You don't seem very encouraging or kind to me.
You just don't belong. But that is something that is also another thing that I wanted to say, is where I find it extremely irritating when dealing with have we come up with a name yet? With a frikkie, man. With a frikkie is that, and when I say frikkie, I am going to highlight, this is not all white men. This is not all white Afrikaans men. There are just certain men that are extremely, how can I say, they're racist, they're bigots, and their entire personality goes about their skin color, which is weird because it's an organ. They did nothing to get it. Okay, so I, for instance, today got a message saying, wait, okay, so a person had said, wait until they rape you. And then someone else commented, because I responded to that saying that I understand that they need to humiliate me because I'm different, because my views are different. And that's what they do with women whose views are different. They other them, they humiliate them. And then the next man responded saying, well, if you don't want to be humiliated, then you must get on the same page. I was like, dude. I then responded saying, you are humiliation to yourself, man. There's this weird behavior, and this is by the frikkies. Now, I've explained what a frikkie is, and is this behavior that you have to other people that do not agree with you. And this guy was othering you continuously with his so-called revolutionary, his revolution, and how, he's building structures, and it's, he's uplifting the Buddha and all those kind of things. So what I wanted to say is that we'll have further discussions, and we'll probably have further interactions around this. But I think the takeaways is, let's hope that we can start putting our egos aside during these discussions, that we are actually open enough to have these discussions, that it's not that hard. And also realize that not one of us is the example of what a white person should be in the anti-racist space, or what a white person should be in the communist space, or white person in the Pan-African space. Not one of us are that. We are on a learning journey, and we must pack away the arrogance and be open to learning. And in this case, I think we should learn from the people that are best placed to teach us that. We can talk to each other, we can help each other, and we must expect free labor. Just listen instead of continuously trying to sidetrack conversations, and then we can pick things up. So that is my view.
I wanted to add to that, when I spoke about, actual educators earlier. There are so many people on all social media platforms who put in the work. We cannot expect people of color to teach us. We can't go around saying, teach me this, teach me that. But there are books to read, and like you said now, just listen, just be quiet, become quiet.
Yeah.
Take things in, process them. I mean, I am always, don't tell the trolls, but I am always open to have a real discussion with. But if you're going to be a troll, I'm going to swear you're what. But
yes, she is.
And don't tell people I'm nice either. Don't tell people I'm nice. But
you generally
I am open. I'm open to ask for resources. You know why I don't want to say ask me for advice, because I am also still learning. We learn every day. Exactly. And the only thing I can give you is resources and discussions and things to think about. But just as I might give you things to consider, you might give me things to consider. That's why I don't see it as a teacher-student type relationships. That's why I don't see myself as an educator. But for the genuinely curious people, for the genuine people, I am open. And I know, Bianca, you are open to having conversations. People DM us, share books or articles or things that have helped us.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for watching, and we'd love to hear your views. I know tonight was a little bit all over the place, and we were talking about a personal experience, but maybe you've picked up something from this video. I hope you did. Please leave us some comments, share, follow, subscribe to our channel, and thank you for joining us.
And good night, and sorry to all the Karens, Marilies, and Frikkies.
There you go. That's my Linda. Okay.
First interview as a cancel culture woman.
Oh, Linda hasn't got anything else to do on a Friday except speak to me.
Yeah, I've got my pajamas and wine. So tonight is a very relaxed Friday night.
Absolutely. We are going to just chat about how Linda makes grown men cry.
I can't help it if I'm right most of the time.